Hey guys, Nick with Raven's Eye Off-Road. Today got a simple one. We're just going to change this bumper out. One of the biggest questions I get is why I haven't ever changed the front bumper while I still got the stock plastic. To be honest, it just wasn't a big priority for me. I had other stuff I'd rather invest in money-wise instead of replacing the bumper. But I did come across a smoking deal on a Stubby Fab Fours, and I really like the look of it. We're going to go ahead and get it installed today while the weather's nice. But first step is to get the old bumper off. So let's start working on that.
Before we get started, here's the tools you're going to need. A 3/8 drive ratchet should be fine. Make sure you've got an extension, that'll help later. An 18mm deep is a must-have. 3/8 inch socket, a 15mm socket, and a 7mm nut driver. First thing you need to do is get you a flathead screwdriver and pop these little rivets out. It's pretty easy, just kind of pry it in there in the centerpiece, pop that up, and then the rest of it will pop right out. There's several on this that you need to take out. Use your 5/8 socket to remove the two skid plate bracket bolts. There are two on each side. I believe these bolts were 13mm, and you only have to remove the bottom. The top are connected to the bracket and not to the frame itself, so just the bottom two bolts here if you've got the bracket unbolted from the frame.
So next is, weird awkward spot here. Next is getting the backing off the plastic bumper so we can get into and get our factory fog lights unhooked and take them out so we can put them over into the new bumper. And it's more of those little plastic push pins that we saw in the first clip. So I'll bust those out real quick.
Once you have the back plastic off the bumper, you can just unplug your fog lights. It's just that one plug right there. It's just a push and pull kind of setup. Now you'll want to grab your 18mm deep well socket, maybe an extension, and there's 4 nuts on 4 bolts on each side of the frame, and you'll just break those loose one at a time and loosen them up, take them out. Then your bumper is ready to come off. Now you can lay the bumper face down and start removing the hardware and the bracketry for the fog lights that are in there. Yours may not look like this. This version of fog lights do not fit in the Fab Fours bumper. We'll find that out later in the video. So you should have something that looks more like an X shape, and those should work.
Of course, I put the camera right in my way. Not sure why I thought this would be the hardest part. Look, I'm not even holding it. Okay, we are recording. All the weight's on the frame.
So from here, all you have to do is get the bolts lined in the hole, make sure they're correct, then get your lock washer and your nut put on the, you should have 8. I put the bottom on first just to make sure the bumper was lined up and wasn't hitting the body. It was pretty close, but it did work out just fine. I didn't need to space anything out.
Originally, I think we're supposed to take the fog light, like the wiring harness that's in the original bumper, and take it out and put it in here. And I didn't do that since the fog lights didn't mount up. So I'm gonna grab it and just stuff it in there and tape it up. This bracket no longer fits. So it should fit right here on these 2 bolts. And it doesn't, because I hit the bumper back in there. Now I was able to get these bottom bolts on, and that's it. So I've got 2, and that's it. So I'm gonna have to tighten that down. So yeah, I didn't realize that that was not gonna fit. I figured they would take everything into account, but I was wrong. So I'll have to look online and see if I can find a way to do it, but these need to be trimmed. Pretty sure this top part needs cut down a little bit to make room for it. I don't have time to do it today, and it is getting ready to storm, so I'm gonna have to wrap her up. So let's do that. The following day, and I said, you know what, we got to figure out these brackets. Remember the skid plate, it would not fit on there. It was not intended for a Mojave skid plate. I'm trying to look here. Okay. Anyways. So here's what we got. See this notch? That's basically what we had to cut out. So I cut a part off of this. If you're looking at your own brackets, you'll see I cut this off and notched that, and so now they'll fit in here. I'll have to stop recording and start again. This will kind of show you what you can see. This bolts up right here, and the problem was you hit on the edge right there. Hopefully I'm not in the frame, I can't hardly see. This was hitting there, so you had to notch that out, and now we can fit that in there, and it bolts up. I already tested it last night. Rattle canned it. It wasn't too bad, just a long time. I just used a Sawzall. There was basically a part that went across like that, so I just cut it off and then used a table grinder and grind this notch in there until it fit. So that lets me bolt this up, and we should be good to go now. Alright, so we trimmed those brackets to make this skid plate fit, and guess what? It still doesn't fit because this part hits this part. So I don't know what they were talking about, trim your brackets. Sure, they wouldn't bolt up, but now nothing lines up. I can't get this. These bolts don't sit with the bracket, so I'm not sure what they wanted me to do that for. Not cool. So your only way you're going to be able to make this fit is to cut this lip off. And I'm not exactly sure that I'm willing to do that right now. So if you have a Mojave, maybe skip this one. So I had these little cube lights that I thought I would be able to mount inside here. It's supposed to be like 3x3. I guess those aren't necessarily 3x3, but it wasn't going to work. So I ended up putting my aux beam lights that I really like right here instead of on the stupid hood that I hated. So we'll be able to wire that up pretty easy. It looks clean. It'll work for now. I don't have a plan to put a winch on right away. That's just not... this wasn't a very surprise install. I wasn't planning on getting a bumper anytime soon, so I wasn't really prepared in that regard. So I'll have to come up with some lights. I think they said some rigid lights fit in there, and that's probably what they engineered it to do, is to fit certain ones, their buddies. So for now, I've got the brackets on. We'll put our skid plate back on, and we should be okay. I'll finish wiring the aux beams, and we'll be good. Okay, I think we're done. So let's wrap it up. In the end, if you have a Mojave, you might consider skipping this one. I was not aware that this didn't work with the Mojave. There was nothing on Fab Fours website about it. So the skid plate, you're gonna have to trim the actual skid plate itself or just ditch it altogether. It's only on there with 2 out of 4 bolts. Not super happy with that. The factory fogs did not work. It was meant for the Rubicon LED ones, I guess. I didn't have that. It's a Mojave. So that didn't work. It seems like the only lights that will fit in here are some other brands that I didn't have. So just like your typical Amazon cube lights probably won't work. I couldn't get them close enough to the edge of the bumper. They were way back in there, so not sure about that either. Overall though, the bumper does fit nice. It was easy to put on, super simple. It does come with a winch plate already. I didn't use that. In the future, I'm just gonna move these up onto the bar. There's some tabs that you can get to mount to a circular bar like this. Move those up there, put the winch on. Like I said, this was kind of an impromptu install. I wasn't planning on buying a bumper. I just came across it for a good deal and threw it on. So down the road, we'll do the winch later on. But it does look good, and the coating is nice. It's not that heavy. I was able to put this on there by myself, no problem. Maybe if you had the winch on it, it would be a little more difficult. But overall, though, I think the installation was super easy. It was probably harder to get the old bumper off than it was to put this one on. Something you could easily do in an afternoon. I've had to break it up. I have kids, and we're always doing stuff, homeschool and things like that. So, anyways, I do like it. I thought it looked great. It came out nice. I like the lines. Like I said, we'll just move these lights and get a winch and call it good. If you have a Mojave, maybe skip this one though. I'm not sure how I'm going to fix that skid plate. I wasn't counting on that being a problem, so we'll see. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Check out another video that I've got. We'll list one probably here on an end screen, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.